I'm live with Jasika, and I'm totally excited. Actually, you guys get a little sneak at the feature, and I thought it would be really cool if I showed you a little bit of our interview. I'm not gonna give it all to you because you need to subscribe if you want to hear the rest of it, okay? But you are gonna check out a little bit of it live as I interview Miss Jasika. I'm so excited.
Me too.
I got my questions, so if y'all see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. That's how we roll around here, okay? Live and in person. So, Jasika, that's me. Oh, I'm so excited to meet you because I stalk your Instagram, right? And I'm like, she made these pants and they're so gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
And then when we did the magazine, I thought I have to feature her because, you know, the SEWSEWDEF magazine is so important to us right now. It's like our baby, and we really want to make sure that we are showing so many different faces in the sewing community and people who do something outside of sewing. I mean,
yeah.
Creative people generally do more than one creative thing, right? So
absolutely.
Tell me about Jasika. Like, where'd you grow up? Do you have siblings, mom, dad, all of it? Tell me.
I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama.
Hey.
I've got, roll tide.
Roll tide.
I've got siblings. I think that my parents are probably pretty creative and artistic, but we were really poor, so they were always working all the time. So it's one of those things where you think about, you know, what would my parents be like if they had, you know, all the time in the world that they wanted to create. And so I feel like I've been able to kind of like go off from where they had to stop once they started having kids and fulfill all of my creative dreams.
Right.
So my regular job is an actor. That's what I do to make a living, but I really love having lots of hobbies, and my Instagram is Jasika is Try Curious because I'm willing to try everything at least one time. I love to sew, obviously, which is like why we are connected.
Of course.
I've gotten into shoemaking lately. I like to build furniture. I like to reupholster furniture.
We gotta talk about all that stuff.
I like lots of different things. I love keeping my hands busy, and it has been a really cool thing to have in my life outside of acting because acting isn't always a collaborative thing. Depending on what projects you're working on, you kind of just show up and say your lines and that's it.
Right.
But like the knitting and making clothes and illustrating and stuff, that's all mine and nobody else can take it away. And it feels really nice to have complete control over, you know, the things that I dream up in my head. It's a lot more artistic freedom than I think that acting allows me to have.
Right, I can see that. I totally see that. So one of the things that I really love most about this is doing SEWSEWDEF magazine gives me a chance to be behind, I'm in front of the camera, but sort of behind the camera too, where I get to talk to other people and share other people's sew stories because I like to know how people started sewing. So how did sewing come about? Because in my family, I only have one aunt that sews. Nobody else in my family does any kind of crafting.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know where I got it.
That's amazing. You're so amazing. Can I just take a minute to like fawn over Mimi G?
Quit it some more.
And say that I wish that we were sisters.
We could be.
I know, we really could be. Because you are so impressive and you wear so many hats and you are as comfortable in front of the camera as behind the camera.
I know. I think I secretly wanted to be an actress, but just never did it.
Are you serious? I can totally see that
though.
I
think I could
do
it.
You. I know you
be an
can do
underground
it.
girl, put a good word in for me.
Let's get you in a corset.
Put me in there, I'll be part of the sewing team in there. Gun toting.
Yes!
I can do it.
That's right. I'm so ready for it.
So how'd you start sewing?
I started sewing because when I was in school, I was a theater major. And I minored in art, in studio art. And one of the requirements for studio art was to take all these different design classes. So I was like, I guess I'll take costume design because like I like clothes. It was kind of this thing that I felt like I had to do. And so I had to learn how to read a pattern in this costume design class. And I was like, what? You like take this one-dimensional thing and then you turn it into this thing that your body can wear. It was like
mind-blowing.
Really mind-blowing for me. And so, I finished the class and I actually wasn't that great at costume design, but the act of constructing the clothes was really interesting to me. So I would spend my weekends in college in the costume design studio, like trying to design like sequin tops and stuff. And I didn't have like a very good foundation on how to make clothing necessarily, just how to read a pattern, but it was just fun to be in a shop that had a lot of fabric and a lot of sewing machines, and you could just kind of play around and figure it out. And so over the next few years, I sewed a little bit. My mom got me my first sewing machine for Christmas that year, and it was fun, but it wasn't until I moved to Los Angeles like 4 years ago that I really got into sewing because I had all this free time. I had all this space.
Right.
And see, I used to live in New York, and you can have hobbies in New York. It's fine, but it's so tiny. So when you're working on project, you have to take everything out of the closet, and then when you're done, you have to put it back up.
Right.
And so in this space, I was able to kind of have a little bit more freedom and like throw things around, and it would be okay because I didn't have to clean it up so that I could eat at the dining room table afterwards. Like, I think in my head, it helps for me to not be cluttered when I'm working on things.
Oh my God, I understand.
Right?
Yeah, no, I go into the office some mornings and I'm like, it's too messy, I can't work.
Everybody
Everybody just stop what you're doing, clean up, and then we can get back to work.
That is so imperative for me to have like a really good creative session. And so having the space in California helped, but I also had all this free time, and I had just started learning about all these sewing blogs. It was all new to me. I didn't know about the online sewing community. So I was first introduced to Colette, and I started like reading their blog and seeing their sewing patterns. I was like, man, this stuff is very hip. It didn't feel old like a lot of the, I love the big 4 patterns, they're great, but a lot of the styling sometimes can feel a little bit dated, and it wasn't an entry point for me, but the sewing bloggers, those were definitely a way for me to see myself in them. And then like I discovered Una Baluna, Marcy, and so that was special because
Marcy, like, oh, I love her.
do you know, like she looked like me, and that is really important when you are able to see yourself in, you know, the activities, the media, the people that you're interested in. When you can have some kind of way to relate to them, it makes it more, I don't know, exciting. You feel like you belong in that world. So she was really, you know, great for me to like start blogging and getting into the sewing community, and that's pretty much how it happened.
That's amazing. I think when I started sewing, well, I mean, I started sewing when I was 12, but one of the things that really started me wanting to do the blog was finding other bloggers, and I was like, wait, people are like blogging about sewing?
Yeah.
Like, I need to figure out how to do this, you know? And so that's what I started to do just because it was fun.
Yeah.
And now we're here, you know?
And look at you.
I think that's why, because, you know, you didn't see yourself in the big 4 patterns, you know? So when Simplicity took that chance with me, it paid off. But it gave people a chance to see themselves in that catalog, right? People who were curvy, people who were colored, people who, you know, that kind of feeling, you know, resonated in the sewing community. And now SEWSEWDEF magazine is kind of taking that a bit further, you know, like there's a lot of makers. Why are we only featuring a certain kind?
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm really excited, and that's one of the things I really love about the sewing community. So one of the things that I stalked was the fact that you, and I know you just mentioned some of it, make shoes. Did y'all hear me? She over here making summer sandals. She about to make some heels.
So many summer sandals. Oh my God.
Mind blown. I've been wanting to do it, but now I have somebody who can show me.
I'm saying, like, we gotta plan a date, and you come over. I got the leather.
I got Jasika
all the materials.
April, add to the calendar. Jasika Playdates.
Yes, it's so much fun. You can make a really cute pair of sandals in like an afternoon. But what's cool about shoemaking to me is that I didn't know that you could do it. Like, I didn't know. I mean,
I didn't think I could do it either. Right. It seems like something I need industrial.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I feel like there's a lot of skill sets, like reupholstering, carpentry, where there are kind of these gatekeepers that keep that information for themselves. And if you're not like apprenticing with someone, it's not easy to get that information. I think that is starting to change, and you can find books on how to reupholster at home with, you know, tools that you have around the house. And shoemaking is one of those things. So I never even realized it was something that a regular old person could do without
not regular,
machines.
but okay, I know what you're saying.
And it was because of a sewing blog. It was Heather Lou's sewing blog.
I love
Closet
her.
Case Files. I love her too. She's so amazing. And she helped introduce me to so many people that are in the online sewing community. But one of the people that she spotlighted was this, I think it was a woman in Australia, and she was saying she was interested in making shoes, and I was like, what? What? How, Sway? And so I'd go to her blog and she lists all these like resources and books and places that she has learned a little bit of information. And so I went online and I bought every single book that she mentioned and I started following all these other people and the whole world opened up to me.
It's crazy.
It's really crazy. And so there's also a really great woman named Rachel. She's based in Portland, but she comes to LA. I'll let you know the next time. Like maybe we can do that. That would be a fun thing to do together. But I just really love how so many people all around the world are really trying to encourage each other to like step out of their comfort zone or step out of what they think was possible. I really never thought that shoemaking was possible, and I have like 20 pairs of sandals upstairs.
Okay, Martha Stewart over here. Do you cook?
I do cook!
See, I knew it!
I love
cooking too.
I love to cook so much. My wife has celiac disease, so it's really difficult for us to eat out in restaurants because she'll get sick from cross-contamination. She can't have gluten.
Oh. Okay.
So a lot of my baking has started from wanting to have a good dessert.
Right.
And not being able to find anything that she could eat too. My current favorite thing to make are Girl Scout tag-along gluten-free cookies.
Okay, see.
They're made with almond flour and coconut flour. They are so good. Like they don't taste gluten-free.
Who is she right now? Let me tell you something. I started doing this paleo thing about.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I guess it's been about 5 or 6 months now. Actually.
Oh my gosh!
Changed my life. First of all,
awesome.
I lost like 13 pounds.
Cool.
Like just by changing that. But I realized that I had food sensitivities that I had no idea that I had until I stopped having them. Almond flour, potato starch, coconut. I mean, all
oh my
of it,
gosh,
all of
that's
it.
so
I love
awesome!
it.
So we could totally cook together.
We could cook together.
You would be okay.
You guys could come to dinner and I could feed Claire.
You could.
Oh my god!
Do you know how rare that is for
See?
Claire to be fed by anybody? That would be so exciting and such a break.
This is awesome. Guys, I'm going to let you go because you can't see the rest of this until we feature her. Thanks for tagging along. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. So, I know you're an actress, currently on Underground. Fantastic show.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
On WGN, Chicago.
Chicago.
Watch if you're not watching. It comes on tonight, right?
It comes out tonight, Wednesdays.
I got
That's
you,
right.
girl.
You're so good.
April told me. I ain't gonna take credit for it. I ain't gonna lie.
Thank you, April. You're amazing.
But you know, we're in LA, right? Actors and actresses galore.
Lord, yes.
What's that journey been like for you?
Whew. You know, I always wanted to be on Broadway. I went to school for musical theater. I moved to New York, and I was like, "This is where my."
Too? And she sings.
Da, 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 da. Anyway, so I moved to New York to do musicals and do theater. Again, I miss that collaborative effort that I think is missing in a lot of television and film. But to combat that, I have learned that I can create my own content.
Right.
And it is important to do that because the powers that be in Hollywood don't necessarily care about promoting the stories of people of color or queer people or disabled people or trans people. Like that's just not on their agenda if it's not necessarily going to make them money.
Right.
But that's my life. Like that's who I'm surrounded by are, you know, people that are in those communities. And so my friends and I got together and we filmed a movie in this house over 5 days. We had $4,000 to make it. I love it. And honestly, when we started, we were like, if we have a movie to show our friends, that would be pretty cool. It'll be fun. You know, we didn't have any higher hopes than that. And we ended up submitting it to festivals. We won a bunch of audience awards across the globe. It's very shocking that this group of women got together and was like, let's just podunk around in Jasika's house. And we actually had a feature film to show for it. Wow. And you can actually see the movie. It's streaming right now. It's on Amazon.
What?
It'll be on iTunes soon. It's called Suicide Kale. So that has been what I have learned the most, I think, is that you don't have to wait for somebody else to say yes to you.
Amen to that, child.
Right? And that's a hard thing to learn sometimes when you feel like everybody else has all the power and you don't have that much of it, but you have to create little spaces for yourself.
Absolutely.
SEWSEWDEF magazine, like you have to be the one to carve out
Right.
a little piece of the world and say, no, I'm taking this over. This is going to be for us.
Right.
And it's been like a really good learning experience, but mostly I'm just shocked that so many people write and say, oh my gosh, that spoke to me so well. That's
Wow,
exactly
I can't
what
wait
my
to
life
watch it.
is like. It's a goofy comedy.
I love it.
But again, it's so fun. And like, that was the ultimate try something different for me, because that's not producing, that's not an area that I'm comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like I needed to push myself to do it, because I'm over here waiting to like get
For
cast
somebody
in
to call
all
you.
these roles that say open to all ethnicities. That doesn't mean that.
Well, Una Baluna made a really good, Marcy, made a really good point when I was interviewing her, because, part of the reason that I wanted to do this is, like I said, I want all of the brands that I work with. I've been very fortunate in that I get to work with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And Una made a comment that where I totally understood that sometimes they feel like, well, we have Mimi G.
Yes.
Right? And not that I'm trying, I need the work.
Yes.
I need the work, and I appreciate the work, and I want to continue doing the work and working with all those brands, but there are more people.
I hear what you're saying.
And so it's a big enough space that you can have more than one person doing all of these different things.
Absolutely. There's
and
no
so if
reason.
they're not going to show them, then I'm going to show them.
Thank you so
Thank
you so much. And they do that. They feel like, first of all, all people of color are interchangeable.
Right.
So they can just stick anybody that's got skin that's not white and be like, we're good, right? And it's
Right.
like, there's a lot of culture and history behind each of these
Yes.
different communities that you're not acknowledging. And also what ends up happening is that it creates this competition, because people want to be successful and they'll only have one spot. So you feel like you're having to work against each other.
Yeah.
And it's just not promoting a very unified kind of idea of community at all.
Right. I agree. And, and the sewing community between us, we're so loving and accepting. So the brands outside of that in the sewing world need to see that.
Absolutely.
Need to see that there isn't a color clique. There isn't a separation in the sewing community. If you sew, we're good.
Yeah. That
you
is
sew,
so,
you make stuff. Awesome.
That's great.
That's really all it is.
That is great. And you know what? You said something earlier that made me think about, the history of people of color being kind of erased in a lot of the narratives. And when I went to the African American History Museum, I remember coming across these pieces of sewing that had been done. There was a quilt and there was a skirt, and it was all hand sewn, and it was super intricate, and it was beautiful. And it was made by an enslaved woman, or these items were made by enslaved women. And it made me think of how a lot of the culture of crafting and stuff is really rooted in white culture. And that's this thing that, white people have done for so long.
Right.
But the truth is that crafting and working with your hands is something that exists the world over.
Right.
And it just doesn't get enough attention, I think, when certain people do it. Or if someone from some country in Africa has made this beautiful woven basket or something, it'll be like, oh, they're doing that to make money. But other, from the Scandinavian garb from somewhere else, and they'll be like, oh, look at this art, it's so beautiful and everything. And they're really housing it in these different kind of mindsets. And it's really frustrating for me sometimes, because you're right, I don't think that people pay attention a lot of times to people of color who are creating, working with their hands. Right. Because that's just not a part of the narrative that we've gotten, particularly in the US growing up.
Yeah. For me, I'm Latina, and, I grew up seeing a lot of that. My aunt is a seamstress. That's how I learned initially to sew. But in my community, sewing and craft is huge, but I never see it. I never see it, and it's mind-boggling to me. And so, I want to be able to change all of that, and I want everybody to help me do that. I want everybody to help me change it,
I'm ready. I'm here for you. I'm your support system.
So
here.
How funny the connection with Underground, your character Georgia, and the whole sewing thing.
It is so wild. And for the record, they had no idea that I actually sewed. So
that's funny.
When I got the script, I was like, she's the head of a sewing circle. And I was so excited. I told you do. I showed up to set and I went over to the props people and I was like, so, if you have some yarn and some knitting needles, like I can knit, I can hand embroider whatever. And they were like, no, we're not actually going to be showing you doing any sewing or needlework or craft work, because on the show, the Sewing Circle is actually a front for these women who are working hard to abolish slavery. And so they get together, they talk about tactics that they can use, how they can go out and protest, they make signs. They don't do any actual sewing in the whole season. So if my character comes back for season 3, I'm really hoping that they can slide just a little bit of quilting work in there or something.
Maybe we can slide a Mimi G pattern.
Oh my God. I want to see this huge
the prop guys are gonna be like, where'd this come from? Be like, it was done back then.
We did it too. Yes, we followed patterns. But it's, I think that they should do that just because audiences love seeing stuff where it's, a craft that's current, but from hundreds of years ago or whatever. Right. They love to see those little details in it. So
the history of it is fantastic.
It's the history of it, and that's around the time that commercial sewing machines started going into people's homes. Was like the late 1800s. So I'm like, come on, Georgia can have a little singer,
a little something,
or something, a little something.
I think so too. I thought, in that first episode when I watched, and she was like, I thought we were gonna do some sewing. She's like, yeah, we get around to that sometime.
Really, when I read that, I was like, I thought the same thing. Elizabeth's character,
right?
I was also waiting. I thought we were sewing too.
Oh well, maybe next season.
Maybe next season. Yeah, exactly.
So in the sewing community, we I feel like we all know each other, but we don't know each other.
Yeah.
Right. So who are some of your favorite sewing bloggers that you're following?
I love this question.
Tell me all about it.
Obviously you. And for the record, flipping through one of the catalogs, the Simplicity catalog in the Joann's Fabric years ago, and seeing you, I was like, what? It was like a rainbow was shining out of the store for the first time. Like when you were saying how you want to see yourself, that really resonated with me.
Thank you.
So you're amazing, obviously.
Thank you.
I love Heather Lou, who does Closet Case. Her. She's just so smart and she's talented. I love her.
She's so good. Her patterns are so good.
She's so good. And I love how she talks about how she's kind of melded her architectural design background with sewing. That's just so cool how so many different, pathways lead up to this kind of craft.
And she's so giving. Because let me tell you something about the sewing community that I don't see in a lot of other communities is that we give a lot of free information. I want to show you, tell you how to make it. And one of the things I loved is I just emailed Heather and I was like, so I might be thinking about doing some digital patterns and printing. Any info? And she was like, absolutely.
Here it is.
I
love that too. You're right. That is a very supportive system that the online sewing community has, which is really cool, and has inspired so many of my makes. If I hadn't had access to a lot of these people's thoughts and opinions about things, I would be wearing the same gathered skirt with a waistband for the rest of my life, I guess. I love Miss Seeley's pants.
Of course.
She's one of the first blogs that I follow. I followed it because I read the title and I was like, well, yes, obviously.
I followed Miss Seeley's pants when she was dating and going through her dating fiascos. I followed.
Oh my God. Okay, that makes me want to go into the archives.
Oh yeah.
So sweet. And you know what? Right after I started following her, she shared a post about her mom who had passed away. And I remember thinking, man, this is so special that this person, I don't know this woman at all, has shared this very personal information and has really affected me. And my heart was going out to her and I wanted her to be okay. And that just doesn't happen that much online. There's a lot of trolls online, Girl. I know you know and have some opinions about that. Yes, block, delete, that's what I
in a minute.
Yes. So it was really cool to, I guess, the people that come up to you and you have speaking engagements and they feel like they know you.
Yeah.
I felt like I knew Renee, and she's from the same area that my wife is from. So I got to meet her in person. And that's when I got to meet Marcy in person too. I already talked about Luna Baluna Marcy. I think she's amazing. I'm clearly drawn to bloggers who are people of color. That has been really important to me. But there's other people that I want to meet. I would love to meet Sally O, who was in Texas, who did the whole she made this whole costume that was period appropriate, and she did like from the undergarments to the very outside. It was a very intense project. And it was really interesting because I was reading her blog as I'm wearing what she's talking about from the show, because I've got the corset and the 20-pound skirt on, and I was like, I can't believe you're making what I'm wearing, because this is not fun at all, because I'm sweating and the corset's too tight. It's like not comfortable. But she's just really talented, and she's the one who does all the drawings and watercolors for Closet Case Files patterns.
I wondered about that.
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
So that's another person who has this like beautiful background in like fine arts, but who's also this really talented seamster. And then Ginger Takes Photos, who's also in New York. I really like her. I mean, Renee and I were talking about just doing a world tour one day, like one summer maybe, and just flying around to meet people.
I'm telling you, this has been the best part of SEWSEWDEF, is that I get to do that, exactly that. See? Everybody I've always wanted to meet, I could be like, you're in the magazine. I'm flying to you. We need to do a feature. I get to meet all these amazing people. It's fantastic.
That's so cool. I would love to just like piggyback, just ride on your coattails and do this. So where are we going to next, huh?
Girl, I will add you to the team. Don't play with me. I'm always ready to add to the team. So what does sewing do for you? Like on a personal level, sewing kind of brings me down. It's my business, but I still have been able to manage to keep it as a personal hobby.
Yes.
And I love when I find time to just sew for myself.
Yes.
What does sewing do for you?
My therapist calls it my person. It has become this really therapeutic experience for me to work on something that's all for me, that's all for my benefit, because I think that in general as women, we end up taking care of a lot of people and a lot of things, and we wear a lot of hats, and there isn't a lot of space to do stuff that's like purely selfish and just for us. And then when we do it, we feel guilty about it sometimes, you know, like, well, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. And I'm really trying to get out of that mindset and say, it's okay to make yourself a priority and to do something that feels fun. And so many people write and say, you know, why don't you sell your stuff on Etsy? And
oh my God, if I get one more question, why don't I have a retail store? I don't want to. That's not what I want to do.
That's not what you want to do. And I remember listening to an interview with you on the While She Naps podcast.
Oh, I love that.
That is what I fell in love with you. Like, I really admired you before and I thought you were so cool, but just hearing your actual voice and listening to you talk was a really big deal for me. And you were saying, you know, it's important to pay attention to what it is that you need and you want.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a clothing factory and just make stuff for other people. The joy of it is making something for myself or a loved one that's all for them. And if I am making something for someone else, every single second I'm thinking about them. When I'm making something for my nephew, like a baby quilt, I'm thinking about, man, he's going to sit on this and play on this. It's going to be so fun. And I feel like all my good feelings and thoughts are like infused in that project for him. And I don't want to take that away. You know, that's a special thing to have for yourself.
So, no pressure here, but I asked Marcy to tell me something that we wouldn't guess about her, and she told me she was an original member of the Fugees. Blew my mind. You didn't know this? You have to go watch the interview. Yes. That's what we all did. We were all like, what? Yeah. They were called the, what was it?
Translators.
The Translators.
Also not surprised. Like, I'm shocked that, like, of all the people that would be a member of the original Fugees.
Right. So,
yes, Marcy.
So I hate to ask, because, you know, no pressure here on how shocking it's going to be.
Yeah.
But like, what would we find surprising about you?
I can't match that, Marcy. Damn.
Nobody will ever match that. I'm like, Marcy, really? The Fugees?
That is so cool. Like, I'm going to fangirl out on her so hard the next time I see her.
I know.
Okay. Something that you don't know about me. I feel like I need to keep a list of these things, because every once in a while I'll be like, that's a weird thing about you, Jasika. And then I'll totally forget it and not say it. So now this thing, I feel like it's not that random. Lots of people know it about me, but I hate cheese.
What? I love cheese.
I hate it.
You hate cheese?
I hate it. You can have all my cheese.
I can have all your cheese.
You can have.
I'll take her cheese, please.
You can have my cheese. When I was growing up and we would get Papa John's pizza, it would take me 30 minutes to eat because I would have to pull off the big slab of cheese and then pick off the meat because they still wanted to eat the meat. So I pull the meat out of the slab of cheese and then throw the cheese away and have the pizza and like there'd be balls of meat falling off.
It's just like bread and
It's just
meat.
bread and tomato sauce and meat.
Okay.
Still delicious.
And so you've never liked cheese, even as a kid?
I've never liked it. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the texture. I don't like the taste.
Man,
and
the
I don't
smellier the cheese, the better.
Oh my God. I can't even go to Italian restaurants because the Parmesan smell is so strong that it makes me nauseous. I can't do it. I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
All right. Well,
I know.
I still love you.
But again, you can have all my cheese. I try to tell people because this is a divisive thing when they find this out about me and they're like, what? I don't understand that. And I'm like, but guess what? More for you.
There you go.
There you go.
Jasika, it's been such a pleasure to talk with you.
You too. My gosh.
I think you're going to be featured a lot because we're going to be doing a lot of projects.
I know we have so many projects.
So many things to do.
It's
We're
really
going to cook
fun.
together, shop together, all of it.
Oh my gosh, and I'm going to come to you. Okay, yeah, we'll discuss
You
this
have to come to
later.
the conference.
I'm coming.
Yes!
I will be there.
Yes!
This
This
is
is
so
excited. He's like, yeah! I love it. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for
Guys,
having
watch
me.
her on Underground. Watch her tonight. Watch her every time it comes on. She's amazing. And follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere else that she is. I'll make sure and post all the links. Until next time, peace.
You're so I love you so much. Oh my God. You are such a joy.
Oh, thank you. You're
You are
amazing.
such a joy.